TG Geeks, episode 37, September 7th, 2015. Is the Disney dream a wish that your heart makes? Hello, and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the Two Gay Geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery. Sci-fi, comics, film, horror genre, vacations, you name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane, and we are coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely Phoenix, Arizona.
And I'm Ben. I just got my sobriety back, Raggington, in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yes. And we're going to get right into the show here. Yeah, that's our mellow sound. That's usually the sound I use for op-ed pieces, but it's kind of laid back for this week because we're going to talk about our Disney Dream Cruise to the Bahamas.
Which we just returned from.
We just returned from, and we are just mellowing out and just trying to recover.
Trying to recover from, exactly. Yeah, because there was a little bit too much hard playing going on.
Oh, my Lord. I'm telling you. So we started off our cruise, or actually our vacation, by flying down to Orlando on Friday, and we had a couple of days at Walt Disney World. We had dinner at Ohana on Friday night with some friends.
With some good friends that we've had for we've known for a number of years.
Yes, that we actually cruised with last year when we did our Alaska cruise, and that they brought their son along this time. And so then we had dinner at Ohana. We had 2 great days at Disney World.
We should explain what Ohana is.
Oh, yes. Ohana is the restaurant at the Polynesian Resort.
In fact, I would say it's probably, of all the places to eat at the Polynesian, it's their premier restaurant.
Absolutely. And it's actually one of the hardest places at Walt Disney World to get a reservation for dinner. You can get a lunch reservation, but dinner is a different story. It's one of those, it's similar to the Brazilian restaurants where they come around with the spits of meat and they carve it off and all that kind of neat stuff. But it's very similar to that, but it's Polynesian themed. They give you a bunch of appetizers and salad and stuff, and then they come around with all the beef, chicken, and shrimp that they've cooked on the grill, and it's great. Anyway, so we did that and had a great evening to start the vacation off, and then Saturday we did Magic Kingdom because it was Phil and Tanner's first visit to the Magic Kingdom,
right?
Or to Disney World, period. And we had to go back and rest for a little bit, and it started to rain. And we said, Jen and myself and
moi
and Ben and
Tanner
decided that we would brave the rain and say to heck with it and just enjoy our vacation in the rain, or enjoy Magic Kingdom in the rain.
Boy, did we ever.
Oh, my Lord. We started off with dinner at Tony's restaurant, which is the
Lady and the Tramp
inspired themed restaurant there in Main Street, and it just was pouring rain, and everybody was just exiting the park. So it was great.
We braved it, and we decided that we went in without any umbrella and with no ponchos.
Just got wet as ever, and
we were the rain warriors.
Enjoyed the park. It was incredible, and
it was.
It really was.
That was the most fun I've ever had in Magic Kingdom. I mean, obviously because it was night and that it was pouring rain, it made the temperature rather tolerable.
Yes.
What I was also kind of interesting though is the fireworks show.
Yeah, we
got postponed.
Yeah. A funny little
There's a really great anecdote about that.
We were walking into...
We were headed to Haunted Mansion.
Haunted Mansion, yeah. We were in the Liberty Square area, and they made the announcement that that the fireworks had been postponed, and
some guy just walking around, out, and he's like, 100 or 200 yards away from us, just screams at the top of his lung, darn it!
It was
It was hilarious.
one of those things.
You have to be there.
Kind of have to be there, but it was just, we found it funny. We all laughed. Headed to Haunted Mansion, and then we did Phil Her Magic, which is a 3D show, which was really great.
And as we walked out, lo and behold,
The fireworks were starting, and we
were like in the middle of it.
Yeah, it was right in the middle of the fireworks. It was just an incredible
And I mean the
experience.
middle. I'm talking about the middle of the launch area.
Yeah.
Because there's one main launch area that's just a little bit outside the park, and then there's another one that launches right off like some of the superstructure that marks off Fantasyland.
Yeah.
And so we've got fireworks literally going off around us the entire time, and it was really it was amazing.
Yes, it was. It truly was.
It was a phenomenal time.
Yep. And then the next day we did Epcot, which was a lot of fun, and we did Test Track and
Mission Space,
and then we
drank some really bad soda.
Oh God, the Beverly from Italy. Oh my God.
Yeah, there's a really interesting area in the Future World portion of Epcot where you can try all the different sodas, and that's including Coke, around the world.
It's the Coca-Cola products.
Yeah.
that they export to other nations.
And there's one drink. It's a yellowish type drink called Beverly, and it is the most foul thing I've ever had.
Yes.
And I can't imagine. I mean,
I wanted to cut my tongue off after.
I swallowed it. I drank it, but it's one of those drinks that the longer you deal with that aftertaste, the worse it gets.
Yeah, I had to down several of the other beverages after that.
It was really horrible, and no offense to anybody who actually likes Beverly, but why do you like it?
Yeah.
I mean, if there's anybody out there who actually likes that drink,
leave us a comment on Facebook or the website
Tell
or
us.
any number of other places. Just tell us why you like Beverly and what the attraction is to you. I mean, we don't quite get it, but
no. And one of our friends posted a comment on Facebook because Keith took a really great shot of me drinking it, and you can see this horrible face that I'm making. And he says, "Well, you're dying of thirst or something." I'm like, I don't think there's any condition that would warrant me drinking that. So
yeah. Anyway, so then we made our way over to the
World Showcase.
And of course we started with the Mexican Pavilion and the little what is it?
Cute little boat ride.
What is it?
Well, I think
Rio de Queso or something.
Well, Jen, our friend that we vacation with, she calls it the River of Cheese
because it is kind of a cheesy.
It's a very
ride,
cheesy ride, but it's
fun. A lot of
fun.
fun. It's about the Three Caballeros, So that was fun, and then we made our way over to Frozen Town.
Norway.
Yeah, unfortunately, Frozen has invaded that, and
not fully yet.
Not fully,
but the ride hasn't shown up yet. Still missing Maelstrom, but
yeah, and of course we had to do China again. Every time we go to Epcot, we have to do China because
one of the best pavilions.
The circle vision that they do of China is just breathtaking, and then we kind of made our way around, and it started, to rain.
Right as we got to the American Pavilion.
Yeah, so we went in a little bit. We had a little lunch, and we came out and made our way around to the rest of it. And
should also point out that we stopped off at the German Pavilion and had something one, we had a really nice little wine flight.
Yeah.
But as far as a snack goes, tasted something that would put Cracker Jack to shame.
Oh my gosh, yes. They're it's caramel corn.
It's a caramel corn. Yeah.
And unfortunately it was a little sticky because the rain and the humidity from the rain, but normally
it was also fresh.
Just fresh, and oh my God, it was
it was still warm. Yep. They just made it. Oh wow.
Yeah,
yummy.
And the wine flight, go to Germany if you like wines and the German wines. They even taste Riesling, a Spätlese, which is really great, and 3 other wines. And then they have a little cheese board that's only $5. And
it was a great
really
deal.
Great. So, and the white flight was $14. So
something like that. It was
$20,
very good.
It's nice little diversion there. So, But then we had dinner, and we had dinner at the Italian Pavilion, which was
Really nice. That was our first time.
Really very nice. We had never eaten at the Italian Pavilion before. And then after that, we made our way over to the Beach and Yacht Club, and we had scheduled a fireworks. Well, they don't call it fireworks cruise. It is the Illuminations barge cruise. So they take you around to the various resorts, and on this little boat, it's up to 10 people, and it's really quite reasonably priced. And after they kind of wander you around, they tie you off right in the entrance to the
right
lagoon,
the lagoon of Epcot,
the Illuminations lagoon, and you tie off their unobstructed view of Illuminations, and it's just incredible. So then, that was Sunday night. Monday morning, we get up, we pack, which we hadn't unpacked too much because
thankfully we knew it was just going to be a couple of days at
just
Disney
a couple
World.
of days. So we put on our lovely cruise shirts, and we headed to the cruise ship terminal to board the Disney Dream for our 5-day, 4-night Disney cruise
To the Bahamas.
to the Bahamas, with a stop in Nassau and a stop at Castaway Cay, and then a day at sea. So it was really quite nice. We had a great time, and we've never experienced another cruise line. So
No.
But from what other people say that have experienced other cruise lines and then experience a Disney cruise, for the most part, everybody says, "Oh my God, this is incredible." And you may say, "Why Disney cruise?" You know,
I would say quality.
quality, absolutely. They are a little more expensive, but the quality of everything on the ship, the things to do, the food, the adventures, the port adventures that they schedule for you, all of them are absolutely wonderful. And one of the things I noticed when we tied up in Nassau, there were 3 other ships there, and I think one was a Princess, and there were one was a Princess, one was a
Norwegian, I think.
Norwegian, and another one was a Carnival. And all of those ships looked a little
Generic?
generic and faded, and
Yeah, there was. They looked old. They looked a
Yeah.
little dated.
yeah. And while the Disney ships, granted, are newer, and they do their maintenance. I mean, the maintenance that they do at every single stop and every day that they do maintenance on the ship and on the decks and on everything. It's amazing the amount of maintenance they do. And this ship is 5 years old, and it's already going to go into dry dock for 3 weeks. Here, well, it's dry dock for how long?
It'll be
3
3
weeks?
weeks, and they're doing that in October.
Yeah. So they're going to completely renovate some of the insides. They're going to, change the shafts, their propellers, do a lot of things that they can't do, in normal time. So it's amazing the quality of the Disney Cruise Line and what they do and the way they maintain their ships. It's just incredible. So that's why we choose Disney Cruise Line, because of the Disney mark of excellence and their commitment to quality and the commitment to the entertainment, full-size shows, Broadway shows that they bring to the ship, the entertainment, other entertainment besides the shows in their theater. They have full first-run movies that they're showing, obviously Disney or,
Yeah,
movies.
anything that's connected to the Disney studio. And just to give an idea about the repeat customers, now we had a privilege on our.
This is our 6th cruise.
Yeah, this is our 6th cruise, and so because this was our 6th, we just after the previous one, we had made gold level, which allowed us to enjoy a little mixer with all with the ship's officers.
Yep.
And we found out during a presentation that there have been people who've been sailing. It's like their 60th plus cruise.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Yeah. And they what was it? Disney 1994 was when they released. They the first ship.
About that time, that was the
94.
Magic.
Yeah, the Magic. So the Magic and the Wonder are the two smaller ships, and those are the ones that do well. The Wonder does Alaska and up and down the West Coast, and then Panama, and then they go over to Mediterranean in the off season.
Let me see, Mediterranean. They've got a Norwegian cruise or a trip up to Norway when the weather is cooperative.
Yes, and they're also doing British Isles, and
they're always looking at adding new excursions.
Yeah, they're doing all kinds of crazy things. And then there's, the Dream and the Fantasy, which are the much larger ships that do the Caribbean and the Bahamas. And they haven't said, they didn't indicate that they were in talks about another ship, but there is some scuttle that there may be another ship in the planning. Of course, they're not going to tell us until they announce that.
No, in fact, I think you would say they are in talks to be in talks.
Exactly.
About maybe, possibly, at some point down the future, but we're not entirely sure of possibly doing another ship.
Yeah.
Because the demand is there. There is absolutely no question. I think the only time they ever have a ship that is not entirely full is when they do their transatlantic.
Their transatlantic, their Panama canals. Some of the
repositioning
cruises, and repositioning cruise means like what we did 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when we went from Vancouver down to Los Angeles, and that was in September, and the Alaska season was over, so they had to get the ship down to the Los Angeles area to do the Mexican Riviera for a while, just before they went to the Panama Canal over to the Atlantic, and they would do their
like a Mexican Riviera type cruise. But they have to get the ship down there in order to do it, and they don't want to sail an empty ship.
Yep.
So they try to book it.
They book a repositioning cruise, and so those are the ones that. And actually, if you're really looking for a bargain on the Disney ships, the repositioning cruises are a steal. A steal. Transatlantic. I looked at one of those here a year or so ago. The Transatlantic for 14 days for two people was $1,800.
I would dare say the airfare is more expensive just to get
to. Airfare is 3 times what the cruise costs.
just to because where
does to Barcelona?
Yeah, because it starts in Barcelona, and where does it end at?
It ends in Puerto Rico, San Juan.
Okay.
So yeah, the airfare was probably 3 times what the cruise cost. So the repositionings are great, and they a real bargain if you can afford to do that.
And our travel agent has done the repositionings, and she said that they were
she's
phenomenal.
Done the transatlantic as well. So
yeah, she's done the transatlantic. She loves those.
Yep. So anyway, another reason why Disney Cruise. What about the kids? What about children on the Disney cruises?
Well, for those people who have kids, there are so many programs and so many activities for different age groups.
Yes. They have nursery for
literally. Practically
2 or 3 years of age, and then they've got like a
toddler program,
3 or 4 to 5 years of age, and then they've got they've got so many different programs that you drop the kids off, and other than the nursery is one of those things that you have to book and you have to pay extra for. The other things I think are an extra cost, but they're not quite. You just drop the kids off for the day and see you later.
They're pretty much, for the most part, if there's any additional charge, it would be minimal. They're largely included with the cost of sailing on the ship. And so many times, and this is not exaggerated, there's a lot of kids, they don't want to leave.
Yeah,
they want to stay on, and this is one of the things that I really, I'm almost dare say I'm jealous. Like we mentioned, how the Disney Dream is going into dry dock.
Yeah,
one of the things they're going to be doing, and okay, God, I'm just speaking here as an adult nerd here. They're actually going to be refurbishing part of the ship with a really awesome Star Wars theme, and just like they did with the Disney Magic, where they decided to go very Marvel. For the kids to play around in there, they're going to go very Star Wars on the Dream. And I got to say, I'm jealous.
In the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, of all things.
Good grief. Who knows what kind of activities they're going to be adding?
Yeah, I
for
want
those
that
things.
as an adult.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to have a cantina. Take one of the adult bars. I mean, and then kind of give it a bit of a Star Wars flair to it. I mean, I know we're getting that with the Disney expansions in Disneyland and in Disney World. Okay, yeah, but it would be kind of fun to have a little cantina area to go to
and have some blue milk.
I want blue milk. Okay, there, I've said it. So, but it's neat that they've got these things and they're trying to think about what's popular now.
Yeah.
What are the kids really into now? Marvel is a hot commodity, obviously. Star Wars is once again becoming really, really hot, and it's pardon the pun, but it's really about to go light speed as soon as the new movie comes out. So yeah, the kids are going to want to go to these kinds of places and spend the entire day, and they're not going to want to leave when it comes time for the families to get back together for dinner.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that they've got they've got the teens and the tweens, and then they've got up to there's a 14 to 17-year-old club that goes to 1 or 2 in the morning.
Yeah, I remember.
It's oh my God! And then the 18 to 20-year-olds, they've got their own club, and they actually kind of introduce them to some of the adult areas, because you have to be 18 to be in some of the adult areas. Speaking of the children, there are adult areas of the ship
where no kids are.
Well, where they don't allow kids.
Yeah.
There's a bar or nightclub scene in the aft of the ship. There's on the front of the ship on deck 11, which is the pool deck. They have a private pool, private bar, lounge,
so
coffee area.
If you really want to have an experience where you don't want to be around kids, that's very easily done. Not only in terms of the areas, to rest and just enjoy the pool areas and things like that, but even the dining.
Absolutely.
I mean, there on the 2 larger ships, they've got 2 outstanding restaurants, Paolo and Remy.
Paolo is Northern Italian,
and Remy is French,
and
with an American fusion.
Yep, and the Paolo has dinner reservations, and if you have a day at sea, they have a brunch, which is absolutely fabulous.
You gorge until you explode.
Oh my God, the food is incredible. And then Remy has dinner, obviously, and then a day at sea. They've got a champagne brunch, which is a fixed menu. We had brunch, and we
nearly cried.
The fish course brought tears to my eyes. It was so good. I mean, literally, it was like I put that halibut in my mouth, and I literally it was a religious experience.
There's something incredible. There's something really amazing, and I'm sure everybody, if you've allowed yourself the pleasure of eating in a really, really good restaurant, there is something truly joyous about taking a bite of some deliciously, beautifully prepared meal and feeling these wonderful emotions. I mean, when you really feel joy and happiness just fill you from the taste of some food, I mean, that's magic.
Yeah, and part of it too was sitting in this really nice restaurant, staring out to sea, having a wonderful glass of champagne, and having this wonderful food that's being served to you. And the company was not bad either.
Well, the company was very nice. Thank you very much. But it's still, the food there is incredible. And it's adults only. I mean, and it is dress. They at least for the champagne brunch, you have to wear a nice shirt and dress slacks. For the dinner reservation, there's jacket and tie required.
But it is.
But it's so worth it.
We've had dinner at Remy at so it was just the dinner that we had.
Now it's 2 years ago.
2 years ago on the Fantasy was, oh my God!
I don't know how many courses we received. I mean, it's like 8.
Like 8 courses. Yeah, and it was just the food just kept coming.
Yeah. And so if you're one of these people that really likes to have a good food experience, the Disney ships are definitely a way to go. Even in the main restaurants that are included with your cost, they've got 3. They have the Animator's Palette. There is the Enchanted Garden, and then the third one was the Royal Palace.
Royal Palace, right?
I mean, even there, the foods are actually quite good. I
Yes.
remember, I think it was an Animator's Palate. I had some short ribs that
the short ribs, yeah.
they just fell off the bone.
Yep.
They were so delicious. I mean, beautifully prepared. I was very, very surprised.
And they have lovely salads and lovely appetizers and wonderful desserts. So if you, and this is because it's all included, if you want 2 appetizers,
You can get it.
Have 2 appetizers and a salad.
You did.
I did, actually.
Yeah.
On one night, we had to go out, and we'll talk about this in a moment, for a cognac tasting or whiskey tasting.
One of those drinks.
But they missed my appetizer portion.
Yeah, it was your second appetizer.
My second appetizer, which
your
was
crab cakes.
One of the crab cakes. And then the last night, I had ordered 2 appetizers because they were kind of interesting, and he brought
your
third
crab cakes.
appetizer, my crab cakes from the night before. So he'd
Well,
gone down to one of the other restaurants because we were it's rotational dining, meaning that you'd eat in a different restaurant each night, and your servers follow you, so they know what you want and how you want your food and all that kind of neat stuff. So the adult programming.
This is interesting.
This was, and we're, obviously seasoned cruisers on the Disney ships. So we know that the minute you get on the ship, our first destination is the adult bar area or adult nightclub area to sign up for the various tastings. There on this cruise, there were
like 7 or 8.
Oh, there were
and
more
we
than
only
that.
did 4 or 5.
We did 4 of them.
I lost count.
Yeah, I lost count, but there were more than that because we always try to do the cognac tasting, we try to do the whiskey tasting, a wine tasting, and we did 5 because we did the wine
champagne
tasting, we did the champagne cocktail tasting.
Yeah, that was new.
Yeah, and a
mixology.
Okay, so because we had been on a cruise before and we saw that Alexander was there again, actually in the Cove Bar.
Okay, yeah.
We knew that he was going to do the cognac and the whiskey tasting in Cove.
Right.
So we signed up for those 2, and because we had signed up for it and he had seen us, he actually changed up the lineup because they normally there's a very specific set of cognacs that they taste. Obviously it ended up with a Courvoisier XO, which is their highest that they are willing to give away on the cognac tasting. But he changed up some of the lower end so that I couldn't tell what they were because I knew the last time we did it with him, I said, I know that this is the Hennessy
and it's always going to be the
VS,
same
and
3.
it's
same
always
5.
the same 4 or 5 that they always taste. So he changed it up, did the same thing with the whiskey tasting, and it was really kind of neat. And we were only going to do the whiskey, cognac, champagne cocktail, and wine tasting, and we just happened to walk into
another one of the bars,
the
Skyline Lounge,
and saw somebody else that we had sailed with. We'd sailed with Alexander on the Dream in April.
Yes.
And we'd sailed with Bonnie in the Skyline on our Alaska cruise.
Right.
So we decided, he said, we're doing mixology. You have to sign up there, which we were not really thrilled for, but that turned into
that was an adventure.
Truly an adventure. But they had beer tasting, they had tequila tasting, they had wine and chocolate tasting, they have
I don't know how many different tastings.
Gosh, there were 3 or 4 other different types of tastings. Plus they did cognac and whiskey. One was in the Cove, which is the adult area on Deck 11, and one was in Meridian Bar, which is the bar between Remy and Paolo at the stern of the ship. So
all adult areas, obviously.
All adult areas. Lots of things for adults to do. The nightclub area, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 separate venues that are all themed differently. Pink was where the champagne tasting was, which is kind of like the Pink Elephant.
It's like a champagne lounge.
Yeah, champagne lounge. And then there's the district, which they call it, and the Skyline Lounge, which is the skyline on the back in the back of the bar changes every 15 minutes to a different major city.
And usually when that
And the
happens,
cocktails
the
change.
cocktails change too. They try to stick with something that is very indicative of that particular major city.
Yeah, and they have Evolution, which they have adult karaoke, and they've got a bunch of other adult things. They had this cruise, they had a ventriloquist that actually did a family show, but he also did an adult show.
A lot, yeah.
in
The Disney
Evolution.
ships will have that. That's the second time that I've encountered that. I remember in the main live theater, which is the Walt Disney Theater. That's where they do a lot of their live shows. I remember a couple of cruises back, we saw a comedian who's also a juggler
Right.
did a show there, and I thought, well, it'd be kind of interesting. See what kind of an adult show is he going to do? And that was on the golly gee, was that on the Wonder on the
May have-
repositioning?
May have been on the Wonder, yeah.
Yeah, so we went into the adult club, which was wave bands,
Yep, and
and saw the adult juggler there with a slightly racier show,
yeah,
just slightly.
just slightly.
But it
So-
was a lot of fun that they have all these areas that the adults can go to,
Yeah.
and be able to enjoy something just for themselves. Like last time when we were on the Wonder in wave bands, they had different dancing nights and different theme nights. And one
Yeah,
night was
80s
70s music,
night, yeah.
80s night. So there's
Karaoke night.
karaoke night. So there's all these different things for people our age to be able to really just kind of go out and let your freak flag fly, so to
Yeah.
speak.
And they also have a world-class spa on board.
Oh yeah,
Ben had a nice shave
had a
and facial.
wonderful facial.
And I had a manicure and a pedicure. Yes.
Yes.
It was wonderful. It was just wonderful to be pampered. Plus they have all kinds of other spa treatments, massages, and a wonderful on the Dream and the Fantasy, a wonderful exercise area with lots of exercise equipment that's staring straight out to sea. So it's really a lot of things for adults to do.
The amenities for adults alone are truly spectacular.
And then, speaking of programming, the excursions that they plan for
The port adventures.
port adventures, tons of port adventures. Oh my gosh, our first cruise on the Dream, we did in Nassau. We did the swimming with the dolphins, which was an incredible experience.
Yeah, we went out to a place called Dolphin Lagoon.
Yeah, but they have all kinds of port adventures.
There's lots of port adventures
The-
depending on where you're going.
Yeah, we did we didn't do too many on the Wonder on the repositioning.
Well, that's because we had a
were
private.
2 days in San Francisco, but we had two private things. We did some other private excursion, shall we say. But in Alaska, they had lots of wonderful excursions.
We did one.
Oh, yeah.
Did excursions for the first 2 stops in Alaska, and they were amazing.
Yep. And then we did on the Fantasy. We had one scheduled for.
Oh, at Saint Martin.
Yeah, where we were almost killed.
Yeah, we almost died.
Yeah, because of the cab ride. Anyway, we won't talk about that, but we didn't do any excursions this year because it was Nassau again, and we've done Nassau, and we got convinced to get off of the ship.
By our vacationing friends with
and
us.
went to Senior Frogs. So
That was about it.
Which was fine, and then we went back to the ship. But the other adult programming we did, had a great time. Way too much to drink. The mixology that
Holy
was 1
cow.
hour turned into 4 hours, and we won't talk about that. Yeah,
Yeah, let's just
I
say
won't-
that
I won't talk about the bruises on my knees.
despite rumors to the contrary, we did not break the ship.
We did not break the ship.
Not
but-
all of it.
Not
Only
all-
parts of it.
Only parts of it. So, anyway, then after Nassau, the Dream stopped at Castaway Cay, which is Disney's private island. Used to be known as Punta Gorda and was actually a smuggler's thing. It has an actual airstrip, and they have renovated the island. They have an adult beach. They have a family beach. They have cabanas on the family beach, cabanas on the adult beach.
And I do want to point out that
and lots of excursions.
just because they have an adult beach called Serenity Bay, just because Disney has it, does not mean that there's anything inappropriate going on.
No,
Everybody Guests and crew, everybody is on their absolute best behavior. So if there's any adults
it just means that there's
no children
no
are allowed.
children.
Yeah.
So
it's
really
a little quieter.
is kind of nice to go there. We rented a cabana for a group that we were with, and it was really quite nice.
In fact, I would dare say that given the choice again about do I want a cabana on the family side or do I want a cabana on the adult side, I will pick family side any day of the week. I'll take that because the way the entire key is designed, there is this beautiful rock barrier that does allow for water to come in, but it is largely unaffected by the tides.
Yep.
So you don't get a lot of changing water. And it also affords you this gorgeous view of the ship as it sits docked. So if you're looking for great photo opportunities, they are aplenty. Great. And just having the cabana area, it's all reserved. Yep. So you have a great deal of beach and water that is just for cabana guests only, so you don't feel completely overwhelmed by a huge multitude of people.
Yeah. And a private beach for the cabanas on the family side. It's refrigerator stocked with snacks and beverages and water, and you can order adult beverages.
You can even order a lunch.
And the luncheoning place is just a few steps.
Just outside the cabana area, yeah.
So it's really nice. They have looked like they were doing some building, and it looked like it was building a private bathroom for cabanas only, while the bathroom for the cabanas was just right outside the cabana area. But
but if you're deep inside, you don't want to have to make that trek all the way back. You know, it's so having some kind of bathrooms that are a bathroom facility inside the cabana area is a good idea.
And it was really great. We had a great time on this cruise. And now for some of the not so good.
Well, we should discuss the cruise ship contracts. Yeah. And when we talk about contracts,
when cruise ship employees or people that are working on cruise ships for the most part, and Disney as well, they sign up for a specific period of time, or it's called a contract. Most of them are 6 months long. Granted, that 6 months, you don't have a day off.
No, you're working every day.
You might get every day, maybe 10 hours a day or more.
You might get a day of shore leave, if you will. Because I remember the first time we were on the Dream, we stopped off at Nassau, and for reasons which I don't know, the ship, the captain decided they were going to stay docked at Nassau very, very late, and they allowed much of the crew that they could afford to actually go off the ship and have a good time themselves. I mean, they have to have their own free time and their own fun time. And from what I understand, the reason they were allowed this is because leading up to that cruise, they had performed exceptionally well. Yeah. So this was their reward.
So the reason we say something about that is because we understand that this cruise was the beginning of a contract period, or somewhere within a couple of weeks was the beginning of a contract period. Alexander in April, he was just finishing a contract, I think at the end of April or beginning of May, was going to be off for a couple of months. And then he wasn't sure whether he was going to come back for another contract. Obviously he did, but it had just started. So there were a lot of new people.
A lot of returning people,
and
but
a lot of returning.
There were a good deal of people that were totally new to this.
In fact, one of the gals, the gal that did the champagne cocktail tasting, she's been cruising for 14 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's her job. And
a lot of people like to do that.
And they do. And some of the other people, our head server over the 3 restaurants has been, I think he said 20 years. In fact, he had worked with the hotel director for many, many years. And Captain Gus was on this ship. He was the captain on the Wonder when we sailed in Alaska. So they do change around. A lot of the same faces that you've seen and continue to see. But there's also always a bunch of new people because there's new contracts. People go on vacation for a couple of months and then they come back to do cruises and a new contract. But we experienced from the very beginning that something was just not quite right. It just didn't
tad
feel the same as all the other 5 cruises that we've done, and it just felt a little bit different. Some of them may not have understood the Disney Excellence program or their commitment to quality and excellence, and that the customer is always right. And how do you fix that? And how do you not say the computer says no?
Yeah.
We experienced that a couple of times, and it was just a little unpleasant on a couple of things. Now,
just a couple of
granted,
things.
We did happen to speak to the hotel director in our little mixer with the captain and whatnot, and it was amazing. He asked what our stateroom number was, and we didn't really, it wasn't about getting anything, and we didn't get anything special, but it was at dinner
that very night
that everything changed.
For the better.
For the better. And the head server had a little chat with our server and assistant server, and things went better. Our head server has been sailing with Disney for a long time, and we'd had a little mix-up with some wine, but he said that the sommelier was saying, well, you can't really do that because they can't make it right on the computer. But he did say, I'm taking care of it. I have enough authority to take care of this little issue, even though the computer says no.
There are ways to override that.
That is what we've come to expect from Disney. Instead of computer says no, we have come to expect, well, the computer really doesn't like this, but how can we make this better for you? How can we fix this for you?
They can at least,
what can we do to make it better?
They can at least say, all right, we have a system issue, but we're looking on how to get around that.
Exactly. So while we really, really enjoyed this cruise, there were some things that were just a little off. Most of them were handled appropriately, but it just beware that, beginning of a contract period, and we've come to expect a certain amount of excellence and, quality according to Disney, that we knew that if we pushed it enough, we would get pretty much what we wanted.
And
we're not into asking for something that's just completely out of left field.
Exactly. We're not asking for any special treatment.
We're just asking that the treatment that we get be up to the same
standards that we have seen in the previous cruises.
Exactly. So that little thing, and that's all we're going to say. It was not anywhere enough to make us not ever do a cruise.
No, in fact, we've got another one already scheduled for next year.
But it just one of those little things that it seemed a little off, and I think that they're probably going to work some of those things out now that we have said something.
Yeah. Now
we made mention of it.
I should point out that there were a number of people in our group who had never cruised before. And I had a chance to talk to 2 of them at some point and wanted to kind of get their take on how did they feel about the cruise for the first time. And I think pretty much the consensus is that they are now ruined.
Yes.
Because even though they observed that we saw some things that just didn't quite live up, they themselves had an amazing experience.
Absolutely.
And when I asked them what were some of the things that they really enjoyed, the thing they kept coming back to were the adult activities and the quality of the food and the service.
Yep.
They thought the service was absolutely spectacular. And I'm not going to take that away from them. If they had great service, then great. I'm very, very happy for them. And, and for the most part, our service was really good, too. We had an awesome cabin boy.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say cabin boy.
Well, you know what I mean.
Stateroom host. Stateroom host. And he was cute, too. So, but anyway. So Stick around. We're going to talk about other Disney vacations later on in the show, but that's it for our Disney Dream Cruise to the Bahamas.
Yeah, baby. They're like two gay geeks. They're together, you know. They're two gay guys and they're geeks. Is that okay?
Yes, that is the sound for here are a few selected birthdays for September 7th through September 13th. September 7th, James Van Allen was born in 1914. You recognize that name?
Well, does that have anything to do with like the Van Allen belt?
Absolutely. He is the one that discovered the Van Allen radiation belts. How about that? On September 7th, we have Martin Freeman is 43. Peter Sellers, 1925 is when he was born. Sid Caesar, born in 1922. On September 9th, Henry Thomas is 43.
Elliot.
E.T. September 10th, Ryan Philippe is 40.
Actually, I think it's Philippe,
Philippe, or, okay.
I think.
Well, however you say his name. He was the first U.S. daytime television first gay teenager. Way
Yeah.
back in, what was it, 70s?
A little bit
80s?
later than that. I think it's the 80s. It was on One Life to Live.
Yeah.
And, I watched it. It was a big deal.
It was a big deal. Also on September 10th, Guy Ritchie is 56. And Chris Columbus is 56. He was the one that gave us our first Harry Potter movie.
First and second.
First and second, yes. And one of our closest friends, Gordon Street. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Gordon.
September 11th, Brad Bird of Pixar fame and other animation fame is 58. And my favorite sister, Lynn.
Your only sister. But we won't discuss that.
Yeah, she's still my favorite sister. Happy birthday, Lynn. September 12th, Neil Peart is 62. That's especially for you, my dear.
Well, thank you very much. I am a Rush fan.
Yes. And Hans Zimmer is 57. I just like to say his name that way. Hans Zimmer. 57. Done a lot of sci-fi.
Lots of movie scores.
Yeah. And a lot of sci-fi movie scores as well. Ian Holm is 83. September 12th, Alfie Allen is 28. Alfie Allen. Theon Greyjoy.
Ah, of course.
Desmond Llewellyn would have been 101.
The one and only Q.
Yes, the one and only Q. Margaret Hamilton, born in 1902. You know who Margaret Hamilton was?
My pretty.
My pretty, I'm melting. Yes. And Maurice Chevrolet.
What?
Excuse me. Maurice Chevalier was born in 1888 on September 12th. September 13th, Roald Dahl would have been 100.
Wow, only 100?
Yep. And Richard Keel would have been 76. And that's it for our birthdays.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Technorama, the podcast for geeks, because geeks are better than cool. You don't hear someone say, "Get away from me, you cool person." Who's gonna have their 65-inch home theater system installed by the Cool Squad? Not me, that's for sure. How much cool cred do you have? Not enough to care about. Think you'll find any canned unicorn meat at thinkcool.com? It's just a part domain name. They don't even have roadkill in a paper cup. That's why you need to start listening to Technorama, because that's what geeks do. Go to chuckchat.com and listen to Technorama before you turn cool.
Go over to chuckchat.com and give a listen to our friends Chuck and Craig over at Technorama. You might even hear us too.
Rama.
Rama. Exactly. And now it's time for a little listener feedback.
I just got a couple of things here. A couple of weeks ago, posted a story about how CBS had officially released a plot synopsis for the upcoming DC property Supergirl. And my brother, Daniel, was just so stoked. He just wrote a simple little comment, simply saying that I am very excited about the DC projects that are being released. Not just Supergirl, but there's Superman versus Batman, the forthcoming Wonder Woman, and Justice League. Now, I should point out that growing up in my family, my brother Daniel, his identical twin Mark, and I were like three of the biggest comic book nerds imaginable. So it's neat that he's having a really good nerd moment, just like we are, and being able to see these exciting shows. So just wanted to mention that. And then, secondly, with episode 35, we got a nice little bit of feedback from...
Episode 35.
Got some listener feedback from David Wagner of...
David Wagner?
Of
Do we know him?
From Beyond the Impact.
Yes, we know him.
Yes, he played Alexei Popov. And his simple comment is, now, deal with this. Hey, I got a listener feedback shout-out. Cool. It would be really meta if I got another feedback shout-out about a comment about feedback. Would that be a feedback loop? Geekception? Yes. It might cause irregularities destabilizing the internet? Let's try it. Great show as usual. By the way, I don't have a hump either.
What hump?
What hump? So those are the nice little feedbacks. So how do people leave feedback if they wish?
They can leave feedback on our Facebook page, on our YouTube episodes, or at tggeeks.com, or even on Twitter if you want. And you could receive a shout-out on a future episode, or you can call our listener feedback line, and we will play your comment on air. That's 469-TG-GEEKS, 469-844-3357.
This is Mark Biaggi, and you're listening to the Two Gay Geeks webcast.
All right, now we're going to discuss some other Disney vacations.
Yes, because there are others. It's not just the cruises. It's becoming quite abundantly clear that Disney is trying to create the vacation experience, not just for families, but for adults as well.
Or everybody, actually. There's so many things to do Disney-wise, Disney vacation-wise. I mean, there's Walt Disney World, obviously. There's Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
Adventures by Disney.
Oh, Adventures by Disney. This is something they've gotten
Lord.
into kind of recently. That came about after the cruise line.
Yeah.
That's relatively new. And they create these adventures where you fly out to whatever destination it is that you're heading towards. They just started some Norwegian adventures. The one that I'm like really wanting to do is Scotland.
Yes.
Oh, I dream of doing
I really want to do that.
so badly.
We say we dream about these because these are very, very, they're out of our pay grade vacation-wise for two people. I mean, it's really out of our pay.
But
there are
quality.
There are some that are here in the U.S. They do a couple of U.S. vacations. Which
In fact,
they just haven't fit in our schedule.
No, they haven't. In fact, they have one that's
fairly
for.
reasonable. Yeah.
They have an adventure by Disney at the Grand Canyon.
They do Grand Canyon. They've done Grand Tetons. They've done Hollywood.
Yeah.
A couple of other things. They're just not in.
No, that just hasn't worked out schedule wise. In fact, I'm not even sure, but I think the Hollywood one might actually include like Disney Studios.
Yeah, it does. You get to go into Burbank at the studio. It's a kind of a behind the scenes tour, and you get to go to Disneyland. You get to go to the Tam O'Shanter, which was Walt's favorite restaurant. A number of things. It's a 2 or 3 day adventure, but some of the other adventures by Disney over to Scotland, and I mean they're 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 day adventures.
Yeah,
Asia. I mean, just everywhere. They are absolutely incredible. Adventures by Disney. And then, obviously Disney World, Disneyland, Disney cruises. There was something else I was thinking about too that they do besides. I can't remember what it was now. Went out of my brain. I didn't put the bullet point down
Oops.
when I was thinking about it. Oh well.
Well, but talking about a Disney World vacation, now we have vacationed there a number of times now, and granted, what we just did, it was part of a vacation. We haven't done a full blown Disney World vacation, but the things that you can do there, I mean, because it's
Oh my gosh.
it is without question a resort destination.
And don't rent a car.
You don't need to.
Stay on property. Use the Disney Magical Express.
Even if you want to go, say for example, a lot of people love to go and spend a day over at Universal Studios in Orlando.
Take the shuttle.
There's a shuttle that'll take you there.
Yep.
It's not that far.
And it's not that expensive.
No, it isn't. So there's obviously some kind of agreement going on between Disney and Universal that allows for this sort of thing. You know, it benefits each park. But Keith's right. I mean, the transit system, the transportation system that Disney World offers for all of its guests is truly excellent. I mean, obviously there's the monorail, but the monorail only goes to just a few places.
And there's the Disney buses that go
everywhere,
as well as watercraft, because they have all of these.
There's all these water channels and waterways.
Go to different places.
I mean, they're not all entirely connected. So, like if you were to catch, say, a boat just outside of Epcot, like we had, it can only go to a few resorts, but there are other waterways that can take you from one resort to another. I remember a couple of years back, we were staying at Port Orleans, the French Quarter, and we wanted to go down to one of the other Port Orleans resorts and have dinner there.
Yeah, that watercraft takes you down to downtown Disney as well.
Yeah, it can take you to downtown Disney, and there's no charge.
Yep.
It's all included. You just get right on. It's wonderful, the transportation.
Absolutely. And the Disney World vacations are, it's not a one-size-fits-all. They have the inexpensive hotels, and basically it's a place to sleep.
Yeah.
Plus, then they have the real high-end hotels. They have intermediate, they have medium, they have campgrounds, they have everything, as well as the Disney Vacation Club.
Now, granted, this last time we stayed at All Star Sports, but the reason we did that is because
the rest of our group was staying there.
Yeah, our group was staying there, and their son Tanner is a huge sports freak, so it was all done for his benefit.
Yeah,
and that's okay. We didn't mind. I mean, it wasn't about our agenda.
To sleep, that's all it is.
Yeah, but we've stayed at Polynesian,
Contemporary.
We stayed at.
not contemporary.
We stayed at Pop Century, and we
Century,
stayed at the French Quarter.
Yep, twice.
Which to this day is, I think, that's got to be one of my favorites right now.
It is really fabulous.
So beautiful.
And you can do all kinds of different things with resort tickets and dining plans and all of that kind of stuff. And it just, all of this stuff.
It's not just about going into the park and hitting rides.
And the planning to do that could be a nightmare, but
we know someone.
We know somebody that can take care of that for you. Fairy Godmother Travel. Teresa Corey at Fairy Godmother Travel. She happens to be a personal friend, but she is also a fabulous travel agent. It's a free service that she provides. It doesn't cost you anything. She looks for discounts during the whole planning. She'll help you plan that. She'll give you quotes. She goes above and beyond. And she is wonderful.
There is a reason why we refer to her as our fairy godmother. She is. Yes. I mean, she is truly remarkable.
Above and beyond.
Yes.
Truly. I mean, really, she will work with you, and whether you book with her or not, she will work with you.
Mm-hmm.
Pixie Dust Sprinkle Vacations. She even. And I don't know whether I should say this. I asked her if I could, and she said sure. She will even work with you on a payment plan. You don't have to come up with the $5,000 for a family of four all at the same time. If you plan it out far enough in advance, you can make payments on that.
How do you think we do it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the only way we can afford to do all of the vacations and cruises that we do is on a payment plan. So give her a call, 832-284-4002. Or you can send an email at Teresa, Teresa, at fairygodmothertravel.com. we will have specifics and details on the website for the article for this show. So give Teresa a call. She is great to work with, and she will bend over backwards for you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We wanted to keep you updated on a few things that we've been following.
First off, we want to remind everybody about the Dub Smash war between Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter. There's still plenty of time to get involved in that, and all you had to do is go to our website, tggeeks.com. We have the story there, and for anybody who doesn't really know, all you need to do is pledge. You make a vote, and you vote with your money. You vote with $1, and each entry puts you into a contest to have lunch with both teams.
And we haven't done that yet because we just got back from vacation.
Yeah, we haven't had the time.
We plan to do that multiple times.
Yeah, we definitely, because I really want to win. And it goes to some really good causes. They have 2 charities. One is Stomp Out Bullying, and Team S.H.I.E.L.D., their charity is the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. So you know that the money is going to a really good cause. So I would definitely check in on that. And also want to touch on the BTI, the Beyond the Impact Kickstarter campaign. That's still going on at this present time.
Check our website.
Yeah, check our website on that.
Sticky at the top of the website and a sticky on our Facebook page.
They've got 50 backers so far. There's still 18 days to go. And I was thrilled to see that one of the backers actually pledged over $9,000. That I almost cried.
That's great.
I was so happy to see that they're getting that kind of pledge. But there's still time, and the gifts that you can get out of pledging on this campaign are wonderful. Not just a name in the credits, but if you pledge high enough, hey, you might even get an opportunity to be in the next Beyond the Impact.
Exactly. We also wanted to let you know about Neighbors from Hell. It's a horror comedy, and if you go to Twitter it's at NFHell_movie. Have a few little things about the Neighbors from Hell. It's starring none other than
Colin Baker.
Yes. I'm excited about that. I really want to see that. We need to get some more information.
I've seen a few more stills on Twitter here and there, and it looks really amazing. I'm very excited to see it.
I'm excited about that. The other one is Conditioning. It's a horror short with an LGBT theme. You can find on Twitter at Conditioning UK. And Phil Pugh, who is spearheading this, his is at film, PHILM_maker, who we hope to score an interview with soon.
Very soon.
Very soon.
I hope.
And also Horrible Imaginings Film Fest, September 11th through 13th in San Diego at the Museum of Photographic Arts in San Diego's Balboa Park. We will be there.
I'm really excited about that. I just today I just got to see the press release on all the programming, and wow, I just got
There's
almost
some cool stuff.
I almost got giddy looking at some of the things that they're going to be offering. I mean, this isn't just your regular, cut 'em up kind of horror flick. I mean, there is a lot of ground and a lot of horror variety that has me very intrigued.
Well, Miguel Rodriguez, who is heading the Horrible Imaginings, we interviewed him several weeks back, and he has a different take on film festivals than most people. And give a listen to his interview. It's really great. So September 11th through 13th in San Diego.
Also, lastly, I want to give a shout out to the Facebook group, The Gay Geek. Thank you for allowing us to post our episodes on that group page in Facebook. Their URL is facebook.com/groups/thegaygeek. We can't thank you enough. It's nice that we have yet another forum by which we can share all this wonderful geekiness that we are very much into.
Absolutely. Up next week, who knows?
I don't.
What's in store for next week?
Well, we're gonna be someplace.
Yeah, at the time we normally
record.
as we talked about, we'll be at Horrible Imagining Film Fest next weekend.
So who knows what might come out of that show?
Yeah,
We don't know yet, but excited at the prospect.
yeah, we might have a show full of horrible imaginings. Winky phase.
Clever.
See you next time.
Cheers.
Okay, that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for this webcast episode. I'll have several links on that page. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-Geeks. That is 469-844-3357 from TG Squared Studios. I am Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. I bid you peace.
The real cheers.